Hey guys, today I wanted to just share my review for the new season of Last Epoch, Tombs of the Erase. Now for reference, I purchased Last Epoch before the official launch back in 2021 I believe, and since then I've only invested around 130 hours into the game so far. I played 1.1 for a little bit but got bored pretty quickly and haven't came back since. I had fun, it definitely had an easier learning curve than Poe, but it feels like something is lacking. So I got bored usually after a few days, and that is probably because the game is still being developed at that point. Now, Poe 1 and Poe 2 are my main ARPGs, and I have thousands of hours in those games, mostly in Poe 1. And like many others, I am very disappointed with the current state of Poe 2. But this video isn't about that. I want to talk about Last Epoch and how the developers have formulated one of the best ARPGs today. Evidently so from the general responses from the community and the majority of Twitch streamers abandoning the new Poe 2 League only 2 weeks in and moving to Last Epoch. There are 3 things that I absolutely love about this game that I want to highlight, and I think these are the main reasons why a majority, and I mean majority of players, not just your full-time streamers or hardcore gamers, but the average person who works a day job and is only able to game 2 to 4 hours a day and on weekends, maybe less, are able to enjoy the game without investing unreasonable amount of hours into it. Number 1. Solo self-found is actually viable, or in other words, trade is not mandatory for you if you want to build a strong character. If you've at least played through the campaign, you know what I mean. There are an abundance of loot drops as you're leveling, and you're able to make constant gear upgrades, and every little upgrade that you make actually makes a difference in your damage and survivability. But that's not all. The biggest issue with solo self-found, at least in Poe, is that it requires endless hours of grinding to even acquire remotely decent gear, if you're even thinking about tackling the endgame. Most of the time it is blindly grinding and praying for the drop that you need. Now Poe 1 has more options to ease the grind, but it still requires a significant amount of game knowledge, crafting, etc. to clear the endgame in solo self-found. And don't even get me started with Poe 2. Now the solution is rather simple, and that is to allow for target farming and not gating strong build defining uniques and items behind uber endgame bosses. A majority of the uniques showcased in Last Epoch build guides can be farmed as you're clearing the monolith, and that is equivalent to just regular mapping in Poe. Crafting legendaries with the right exalted mods is usually the final endgame grind for most players who are looking to perfect their items, and it is indeed a grind. However, if you're playing solo self-found or Circle of Fortune, the prophecies combined with the Weaver Tree imprinting and the Nemesis Egg makes this surprisingly achievable this league, especially if you're looking to craft 2 to 3 LP uniques. And of course, the 4 LP uniques remain a chase item, rightly so, but you can definitely clear the endgame comfortably without those mirror tier items. Now for the average player, build progression just feels a lot better, and your next upgrade is usually a few hours away rather than days. Number 2, the game is designed for you to optimize and blast. There are a ton of examples, but I'll go over just a few here. So let's say you're farming dungeons, the Temporal Sanctum for instance, and you've done it over and over again, and perhaps it's getting a little repetitive and boring. No worries, use a portal charm when opening a dungeon to skip straight to the boss. Or let's say you're farming corruption in the endgame and you're bored of running echoes. Well, now you have the option to use the Glyph of Envy to increase your timeline stability and basically hack your way to the boss right away, killing it for the additional corruption and bypassing all the echoes completely. So how about if you're just running around town randomly and you need to teleport somewhere? Just click M to open your map, right click the waypoint and travel there instantly. No need to even hunt for the local waypoint. It is these little things that remove the trivial, boring stuff that becomes repetitive over time and makes the game enjoyable and not just feel like a grind. Anything that feels trivial gets addressed and fixed without any worry that it'll make the game too easy or too trivial for the players. At the end of the day, it's about crafting a game for the players to have fun, Which brings me to my third and final point. Quality of life does not come at a cost. Now, I can't believe when I found out that the stashes in this game were all free. And wait, they are actually fully customizable and has an affinity auto sorting feature as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I happily paid for my stash tabs in Poe, and I treated it as my support for the game since it is free after all. But when you think about it, stash tabs are kinda mandatory for games like these. I'd go as far as claim that you're delusional if you think you can complete the endgame comfortably without the extra stash tabs in both games. Now sure, maybe you're a god gamer and you can, but that does not make it optimal. So I'm just glad 11-hour games decided to roll these stash tabs out for free without capitalizing on it, as they could have easily made a lot of profits from selling these tabs. Now, other quality of life features include the ability to create or customize your item filter, having an in-game trade house, which is a work in progress, but I'm confident that it will only get better, and a crafting system that is accessible anywhere and doesn't require a PhD to figure out. Oh, and your character automatically sucks up all the shards, keys, and gold. How nice is that? So overall, I'm just overwhelmingly shocked at how EHG was able to gather these feedbacks from the ARPG community and implement them into this league so smoothly. Of course, this game is nowhere near where Poe 1 is yet, but again, it only officially launched slightly over a year ago. There is a ton of room for growth, and if it keeps developing at its current pace, I won't be surprised if Last Epoch will be the #1 ARPG in no time.